You might have already missed out on your dream girl. And I'm going to talk about what a lot of guys are doing these days that is making it so that they're missing out on great opportunities with some really nice girls that could be good as long-term partners. A lot of the advice for men recently is really focused on what's wrong with women and how they're bad and all these, the 1,000 red flags that you should look out for to eliminate them and these sorts of things. And at the same time, guys aren't spending much time on screening. And I'm not saying you necessarily should. I mean, hey, if you match with a hot piece on Tinder and she's willing to come over, go for it. I don't object to that. But one of the things is that what happens is that a lot of guys now, when that girl seems really down for sex or seems really good, then they'll eliminate her because they'll just think that she's throwing it around every which way. Which isn't to say she's not. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that that's not happening. But what I am saying is that just because that's happening doesn't mean that she's not a good long-term prospect. Many guys, most guys, feel really uncomfortable with the girl's body count, and they assume that a high body count, whatever that means for them, disqualifies the girl as girlfriend material or more. And so that incentivizes girls oftentimes to lie about their experience. So first of all, you may not even know what her real body count is. You probably don't know what a real body count is, first of all. But secondly, while it is true that for some girls, that body count, the higher it is, can affect their personality or their ability or reflects their personality. So for example, the reason some girls have a high body count is because they don't get along well with guys, in relationships. It's like you have to give up things. If you have a girl who really wants to be on her own program and wants to do things her way all the time, then she's not going to be very accommodating for a guy. And so there's that type of girl. And in this case, yeah, sure, maybe she's not the type of girl in the sense that she doesn't have the nurturing aspects to her personality that many guys care about. And so that's the reason why she has a high body count, because she doesn't stick with any one guy for very long because they start being demanding or they have expectations of her and she has no interest in meeting those expectations. But I think there's another category where there's a lot of girls out there who they meet a guy, they match a guy, and they meet a guy, or both. It could be either one, right? They meet a guy or they match with a guy, and they're sexual girls. They like sex. They enjoy their sexuality. They think the guy is an attractive guy, so they're willing to give him a go. And then they wait to see how the guy treats them afterwards. And if the guy sort of dismisses them or doesn't seem like he's interested in anything other than just sex, then they will move on to the next guy. Because, the dating world has changed a lot, where the getting to know you part tended to happen more before the sex. Now the sex happens more and earlier in the process. So because of that, women are often, and the fact that women also tend to have access to guys that for them are guys they definitely are sexually interested in, means that they're okay with the sex, and then also they're trying to figure out if that's something if they want more from that guy. And then a lot of times what the guys are doing is they're seeing this girl, and because the girl sleeps with them easily, they think, oh, well, she's not a good woman. The reality is that to really know if someone's going to be a good partner, you really have to know that person for months at least. And I mean, before you're going to know if they're a good partner as someone to date. I don't mean for marriage, that takes even longer, but just for someone to date, you have to know them for several months, and you have to have a variety of experiences. And so by being judgmental and making assumptions about a girl and what she's like in her past, just because of the fact that she might have slept with you really easily, is really not a good way to decide whether you should continue to see or pursue that girl or not. Or maybe, she has some awesome sexual techniques and you think that she must have awesome sexual techniques because she banged a bunch of dudes. A lot of times girls who are really great in bed are really great in bed because they had a long-term partner and they practiced a lot and they tried a lot of things with that long-time partner. not because they banged a bunch of different dudes. And the other thing is that as you improve yourself, you will also find that girls will sleep with you more easily. Because for me, I never had a girl who slept with me on the first date until, I was in my mid-20s or something like that. And then after that, I had a lot of girls sleep with me on the first date. And it wasn't because I met different girls. In fact, you could easily argue that it was that I met girls that were more difficult after that. But because I had improved, they were more interested. And so it wasn't that the girls changed, it's that I changed. And so that can also happen, or I think happens with a lot of guys, is that as they get better, the girls kind of get easier. And it's because they're responding to the guy's improvements and betterment and moving forward in his life over time and developing better social skills and all those things. So what I would say is that when you have a girl, if she meets your attractiveness standards and you have good sex with her, take her out, do something with her. Try and see if there's more there than just the sex, rather than making lots of assumptions about her and dismissing her and getting rid of her. So you might find that you may have already missed out on some really great girls because of that mindset and that attitude. So I would urge you not to, because I know that so many guys out there in the manosphere and in the men's advice section, they're really big proponents of this judging women, but that's really just to make themselves feel better. It's rather than spending your time feeling superior to these women that you discard, it's much better to spend some time in getting to know if they really have more to offer or not. And then if they do, great. You just have a really nice woman who's now a part of your life. And if they don't, that's fine too. You had your fun, you gave her a little bit more time, you weren't really very interested, and that's all there is to it. And instead of making it an ego thing, make it about trying to improve your life and make your life better and move your life forward in better directions.